Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're preparing for the TELUS International US Rater exam, especially Part 4, Needs Met, then you're in the right place. Because in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how the Needs Met scale works, what kind of answers you're expected to give, and the real reasons why 99% of applicants fail this part. Stay tuned, because what I'm about to share is rarely talked about and could make all the difference in passing or failing. Let's jump right into it. First of all, let's talk about why Part 4, Needs Met, is the most difficult part of the TELUS exam. You've already seen the page quality and understanding the query sections, and you're probably thinking this is more of the same, but nope. Part 4 flips the script. Here, you're asked to evaluate how well a given result meets the user's intent based on the search query. Sounds simple. It's not. Now here's the problem, the grading scale is incredibly nuanced. You've got options like fully meets, highly meets, moderately meets, slightly meets, and fails to meet. And the kicker. You need to back up your choice with solid reasoning based on Google's Search Quality Evaluator guidelines, or what raters call the SQEG. So if you're not completely sure what each of those categories actually means, or you're just guessing between them, you're probably going to fail. Let me break down exactly what those labels mean, using real-life examples similar to the test. Let's start with fully meets. This is used when the result satisfies the user's query completely and perfectly. We're talking direct answers, no extra steps needed. For example, if the query is, weather in New York today, and the result is a Google weather widget showing the correct city, date, and time-specific forecast, boom. That's fully meets. Now let's say the query is, how to bake a chocolate cake, and the result is a step-by-step recipe from a trusted site like All Recipes. If it includes ingredients, steps, baking time, maybe even reviews, that still fully meets. But if the page is just a blog post talking about cake baking with a link somewhere deep in the page to the recipe, that's not fully meets. Maybe it's highly meets, at best. So let's talk about highly meets. This one's a bit trickier. It's still a very helpful result, but maybe it's missing some minor info, or it's not the perfect source, but it still gets the job done. For example, a Wikipedia article explaining the history of chocolate cake in response to the how to bake chocolate cake query might be highly meets informative, but not instructional. Then we get to moderately meets. This is where a result is helpful to some users, but not ideal for most. Maybe the page is outdated, or it's got good content but isn't that easy to navigate. An example could be a YouTube video titled, Cake Baking Tips, that doesn't directly answer how to bake a chocolate cake, but gives relevant baking info. It's helpful, just not specific. Now slightly meets is barely passing. It means there's some minor relevance, maybe some overlap in topic, but overall it's not what the user was actually searching for. A result like that might still mention chocolate cake somewhere, but the main page is about birthday party planning. And finally, we have fails to meet. This is used when the result is completely unhelpful or off-topic. Let's say someone searches, how to bake chocolate cake, and the result is a homepage for a meat grilling business. That's a definite fails to meet. Let me pause here and give you a massive tip. Most people fail this test because they don't consider user intent deeply enough. They rate the result based on how good the page is, not how well it answers what the user is really asking. Remember, it's not about page quality here. It's about query satisfaction. Here's how to hack it. Always ask yourself. 1. What does the user really want? 2. Does this page directly satisfy that need? 3. Is it trustworthy, accurate, and clear? 4. Does it require extra clicks, scrolling, or guesswork? If the answer to number 2 is yes with no extra effort, then you're probably in fully meets territory. If not, move down the scale. Let's look at another example. Say the user types in, buy iPhone 14 Pro Max unlocked. A result that links directly to the iPhone 14 Pro Max product page on Apple's official website, with the unlock option selected, is fully meets. If it links to Best Buy or Amazon and the user needs to select the unlocked version themselves, it might still be highly meets. A blog post comparing the iPhone 14 Pro Max to other phones. Moderately meets. A general Apple news site. Slightly meets. A random page selling iPhone cases. Fails to meet. You see how this works. Now, let's talk about the dual rating part. Yes, you have to give two scores sometimes, a needs met rating and a page quality rating. But in part 4, they mostly focus on needs met. However, you still need to factor in page quality as a supporting reason. You can't give fully meets to a result that answers the question perfectly if the site is sketchy or filled with spammy content. This is where a lot of test takers mess up. They see the answer is technically correct, but forget that trustworthiness and usability are part of the equation too. Alright, now let's cover the misleading queries. Yes, TELUS throws curveballs. For example, if the query is Apple support, and the result is a site selling fake Apple tech support services, even though it looks relevant, that's a fails to meet because it's deceptive. Or if the query is Barack Obama net worth, and the result is a forum post from 2012 speculating on his wealth, that slightly meets at best. Maybe fails, depending on how wrong it is. Another key tip, Google your own examples. Before the test, practice rating real search results. Think like a rater. Look at query/result combos and try to classify them. Then compare with Google's own guidelines. The more you practice, the more intuitive the rating scale becomes. Now if you're wondering whether the TELUS exam gives feedback, it doesn't. You won't know what questions you got wrong. That's why it's crucial to study and prep using examples like these. Also, be careful about answer guides and cheat sheets online. Some are outdated, and many contain wrong or oversimplified info. You're better off understanding the logic behind each rating than memorizing examples. And that's exactly what I'm giving you here, the mindset of a successful rater. Let's quickly go over some last-minute do's and don'ts. White heavy checkmark: do focus on what the user wants, not just what the result offers. White heavy checkmark: do consider the source and credibility. White heavy checkmark: do choose the most accurate label, even if you're unsure. Use the middle ratings, moderately, slightly, if you're in doubt. Crossmark: don't rate based only on whether the page is good or bad, rate it on its relevance. Crossmark: don't rush. This is where most people fail, careless mistakes. Crossmark: don't assume a popular site always deserves a high rating. And here's the final gem. TELUS doesn't want perfection. They want consistency and critical thinking. If you can back up your ratings with logical reasoning, and avoid extremes unless they're clearly deserved, you'll do fine. Alright, that's it for today's deep dive into Needs Met Part 4 of the TELUS US Rater exam. If you found this valuable, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment below with Part 5 next if you want me to break down the final section in detail. And if you're retaking the exam or just getting started, check out the link.